This episode of the School of Life podcast is brought to you by Miss Jaye's Resumes, ran and operated under the Savvy Solution, LLC. Miss Jaye's Resumes provides quality resume and cover letter writing, review, and tips for the perfect resume start to finish. Miss Jaye's Resumes has proven results. From college students to professionals changing careers, there's room for everyone. To schedule your free consultation or learn more about the Miss Jaye's Resumes Resume Bundle, which includes 6 detailed templates and 2 guides to crafting the perfect resume, visit www.thesavvysolutionllc.com. That's www.thesavvysolutionllc.com.
Wow, Sina.
Another day, another dollar. I'm saving just to be broke. They said college was serious, but my degree feel like a joke. 4 years or less, I'm saying I got it done. No plan, just to end up at my mom's after I told her I wasn't staying. Well, here we are. No question, I'm a star. Just got some light years to travel, but it's just so far. But I'ma make it though. Make sure you get your focus right. You coming too? It's about to be one hell of a ride. Yeah, this adults and stuff is crazy. They ain't warn us about this. I'm supposed to live my best life on an unpaid internship. How I'm supposed to find my husband? Everybody running game. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Went from worrying about on flow to running from Uncle Sam. Now I understand why student accounts never gave a damn. Saving accounts be slipping, trying to work out, but I'm tripping. I forgot health insurance. Oh, I'm my mom's until I'm 26, so I gotta pay these student loans. That's adults with the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting, cause these bills got me in trouble. That's adulting. Journey's course is never planned. That's adulting. So just leave it in God's hands, cause that's adulting.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the School of Life podcast. I hope you are staying safe, staying prayed up, and staying out of the way. Listen, it is literal madness in the world, and all I've been trying to do is not drown in all of the chaos. Look, I know life is super heavy nowadays. Like everywhere we turn, it's always something. But let me just encourage you, if you have breath in your body, I want you to hold on, friend. Just keep fighting the good fight of faith. Look, aside from literally fighting a pandemic and a race war and all kinds of other craziness in the world, I can say that my life is somewhat intact. Well, it's kind of falling apart and coming together all at once, but still, I'm holding on the best I can. I've literally been put in a place of total faith and surrendering, and child, I'm just watching God do what he does best because I don't have any answers. Like, I don't have a plan A, B, or C. Like, I'm just letting him do his thing. And although some personal things seem a little haywire in my life, I can say that my business is flourishing, my clients are happy, and things are working in my favor for my business. My Instagram marketing is working. Y'all, don't even get me started on marketing for social media. Listen, that's a whole nother episode. But anyways, if you're new to the Friend Gang and you're wondering what is this business I speak of, let me just let you know that I run a multifaceted consulting business called The Savvy Solution, where I do a number of things. But my main 3 things is I provide executive communications, writing support to individuals and small businesses. And that's just fancy to say that I write cool stuff for people and I make it sound good. I write outreach plans, business strategy plans, communications plans, any type of strategic writing that a person may need, I can do. I also run Miss Jaye's Resumes, where I provide resume and cover letter writing services and coaching, which you heard a little bit about in the ad that played before this episode. I host this here good podcast, The School of Life. And lastly, I am building the School of Life Academy, which will be an online space to dive deeper into all things adulting with lessons, videos, workbooks, and so much more. So as you can see, your girl is booked and busy, literally. And let's not forget, I recently hired an assistant and an intern. So shout out to Brianna and Sophia. They are doing amazing. Like, my mind is just constantly blown at what God is doing in my life and with my business and just the whole shebang. Now, personally, y'all just pray for your girl. Just pause this podcast right here. Just pause it right here and say, Lord, be with Jaye, because she needs to reach your hand towards Delaware, wherever it may be from you, and just pray for me, because what is going on? I will say, though, I sound a little dramatic. Nothing is like detrimental, and I'm not like in danger. But this season that I'm in has been so uncomfortable. Like, I be wanting to cry, but I can't, because I know it's going to be worth it. And I know that it's really just pushing me into a better me, into my purpose, into all of that. Now, let me clarify. I'm not saying I don't cry, because listen, your girl be having breakdowns. And I'm not telling you not to cry, because go ahead, do what you got to do. But personally, my tears have expired and I have no more. Like, I can't. I don't have any more tears. So once you run out, you will feel this way. But if you need to cry, go on, honey. That's your business, like Miss Tabitha Brown says. Anyways, I'm well, y'all. My life is literally all over the place, but I am blessed in spite of. So today, I am super, super excited about this episode, because not only do I get to do it with someone who literally shares my DNA, and baked in the same bun as me. I mean, baked in the same oven, not the same bun. We baked in the same oven. Y'all hear her laughing. But I get to record this episode in my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama. And the studio is owned by a middle school friend, Black-owned business. So everything today is just so nostalgic. It's like, wow, I'm home. I'm doing this episode with my sister. I'm supporting someone I literally went to middle school with. Like, it's just so heartwarming. But nonetheless, y'all give a big, warm School of Life welcome to my baby sister, my first child. I always say she's my first child, because y'all, if you're an older sibling, you know you raised the whole dang on clan of y'all. And my partner in crime, Miss Keimaya. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey. Tell our friends a little bit about you. What do you want the friends to know?
I am basically Jaye's Solange. So, like, Jaye is Beyonce, and I'm like the Solange. Like, we're like perfectly resemblant of them. So, like, Jaye is like the super girly, like pearls, glitz and glam, and I'm just like the hippie. I don't know how the separation came about, but it did. A little bit about me. I am 22. I'm currently living in Dallas, Texas. I was working as a business analyst, but COVID, we're not going to talk about it. Like Jay said at the beginning, it's been a mess. And yeah, I'm just letting God lead me right now, because all the uncertainty, I don't have the answers.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm really into the arts. I love music, writing, fashion. And just figuring out this life thing. So I don't want to go too far into me, but that's
why you're talking about you right now. You know it. Y'all get ready to just laugh, because this is us 25-8. Talk about I want to go into me. Well, this was your time to go into you.
Like, what do they want to know?
Friends. You know what?
Can we ask them really quick?
They may want to know what you look like, so tell them where they can find you on social media.
Okay, my Instagram handle is at KWHATEVR. K whatever. My Twitter is the same, but it's spelled a little differently, because y'all be stealing people's usernames.
Dang, they be stealing?
They be taking them. So on Twitter, it's spelled a little weird, but it's KWHUTEVER.
Y'all see, she's so creative. I would have just been like, whatever, new username. New username. And I'll be sure to add it to the show notes. So if you guys want to follow baby sis and connect with her, especially after we dive into this topic here on this here podcast, I'll be sure to tag it. So that's all you want to share with the people so far?
Yes.
Okay.
They'll you can't give them too much.
Okay,
you
not
gotta
too
peel
much
it back
too
in
soon.
layers. Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't really know them like that.
You know what? My friends are cool. Anyways, y'all, I thought it would be so fitting for my sister to join me for this discussion on mommy issues and childhood trauma, because I don't know if you all know, but we have been through the trenches with this one. Like, we literally went through some ish with our moms and our dads.
Listen, we got mama issue, daddy issue,
grandma,
uncle, cousin, family tree issue.
Just chop the whole tree down.
Put the roots in some rice water. Start over.
Listen, y'all, and let me just clarify. So everyone can kind of like follow along. We have the same mom, but we have different dads. But my sister's dad raised me literally all my life. And so that's a whole nother topic and craziness. And y'all know I did an episode on daddy issues. So I wasn't talking about him because he was a good one. But yeah, we all just need some therapy. But before we hop into this great, deep, juicy discussion about trauma and healing and how we're able to literally laugh about this now, grab your notebook, grab your journal, get your phone. You might even need some Kleenex because School of Life is in session. Okay, so we have a lot of unpacking to do for the people, sis. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready to pack light.
Okay. I wanted to do this topic because it is so common. A lot of people are walking around hurt and bearing the burden of their childhood trauma. And I know personally we were fortunate enough to go to counseling kind of early, but some people don't get to do that. So if this podcast is a form of therapy, I think that is great, but by no means are we licensed therapists. We're just trying to figure this thing out. But I just love doing topics that are relatable and that help people grow. So here we are diving into childhood trauma, mommy issues, uncle issues, all of that. But for the sake of this conversation, let's first define what is childhood trauma. Sis, what is your definition of it?
I feel like childhood trauma is just any type of stressful or negative experience that heavily impacted you as a child, whether you realize it or not. Mm-hmm. That's my short and sweet answer.
Okay, short and sweet. Well, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, they define childhood trauma as, and you are basically spot on, the experience of an event by a child that is emotionally painful or distressful, which often results in lasting mental and physical effects. And there are literally tons of childhood trauma examples out there. It doesn't just have to be physical. It can be emotional neglect. It can be something traumatic that they witnessed, like a car accident. It can be a parent not being there. Like, there are a ton of things. But for our sake, we'll talk about our childhood trauma from the point of which one did we have? I guess emotional.
Look, can we check all of the above? I kid. I would say a little bit of verbal abuse.
Okay, I can agree.
And some emotional neglect.
Mm-hmm, yes.
I think those are the main ones. I feel like me and you are very in tune with our emotions, especially me. I'm a crybaby.
Y'all.
Shout out to all my crybabies out there. Cry with pride. Cry loud. Cry ugly. So yeah, I feel like with us being so in tune with our emotions, we felt a lot of stuff deeper than just the surface level. Like, we took some hard hits.
We did. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's talk about that childhood trauma that we've experienced so we can lay a good foundation for the people. Let's talk about it.
Ooh, you go first.
Okay. You see how the big sister always have to go first. So, like Maya said, we experienced, it's like, where do you even start? A lot of...
Like, where do I begin? Like, how long y'all got?
So listen. Okay, I would say a lot of my trauma is definitely emotional. Like Maya said, we are emotional beings. I am very in tune with my emotions. I am a crier. I'm a hugger. I'm a laugher, kisser, all of that. Not kissing everybody, but...
Not with this corona. Not with Mr. Ronnie roaming these streets.
I cannot deal with you. Serious mode.
Okay, I'll be serious.
Anyways, I would say my childhood trauma really is rooted in the emotional aspect. I don't feel like either of my parents were able to show me the proper love and care that children need. And so, super disclaimer, and Maya and I will talk about this a little later, we're not knocking our parents. We have gotten to the point where we understand that they did the best they could with what they had. Mm-hmm. However, that still impacted us negatively. So we appreciate all of their sacrifices. We know it was not easy, but at the same time, all they had just wasn't enough, to give us the love and the care that we needed. And so there were times where we boiled hot water to take a bath, you know.
Ooh, you just triggered me.
There were times where the lights were off and we ate dinner by candlelight. Like, that's not a movie, and it's not just something that happens far, far away. There were times that our mom might have been so stressed about life. I mean, when she was my age, so I'm 25 now. When she was my age, she had both of us. And I can't imagine having a pet cat, you know, let alone 2 little girls. And I was about 5 at this point. So that's even crazier. But because of life and just our mom figuring adulting out, I just don't think she had the time, money, or energy to give us that love that we needed, that attention that we needed. And so Maya and I, we grew up really burying ourselves in work, which we'll talk about. Luckily, we were not in the streets, but we buried ourselves in work. And what we didn't realize then was that was our coping mechanism. And so as we got older, even now to this day, we will work till all of our bones fall off. And then we would try to super glue the bones back together to work some more. But that is a result of that trauma we experienced, because all we ever did as kids was work. And we were never really praised for the work that we did. It was always like, that's what you're supposed to do. So my trauma is definitely like the emotional aspect, and it shows up in how I work and how I care for myself now.
Yeah, completely agree with everything you said. I feel like my trauma shows up in the emotional aspect as well as verbally. Like, it's so crazy that sometimes I hear Kelly's voice. That's our mom's name. I hear her voice in my head. And it's just crazy, like, the negative programming she planted in us, maybe without even realizing it. Like, you know, oh, you're so stupid. Why'd you do, like, just like different little things. And I honestly don't remember a time she ever said anything good about us. If it wasn't like her bragging on us for her own good, you know? Yeah. Like, I don't ever remember her saying, Jay, you're beautiful. Maya, you're beautiful. Maya, you're smart. Jay, you're smart. Or whatever the case may be. And girls need that. Kids in general need that. And I feel like now in my 20s, I suffer a lot with self-image and like being hard on myself and just navigating, okay, where are these feelings coming from? Why am I feeling like this? Having a scarcity mindset. Because like you said, like, we were told all the time, money don't grow on trees.
Wow. We could have asked for a burger.
And so now it's like, my relationship with money, I realize, is rooted in, you know, childhood scripts. So like, I get scared to spend money because I'm like, oh, no. Money don't grow on trees. You know, like penny pinching and not wanting to like spend on things or invest in myself or things of that nature, because I'm just so used to having this scarcity mindset. And it's almost kind of crazy how like you get used to the trauma and you get used to the way you grew up that anything outside of that feels weird. You know, like even with relationships with like friends or like significant others, having them show me like real love, I'm like, whoa, what is this? What you doing? Right. So it's like you can't even receive and accept the proper TLC because you're almost threatened by it because you've received so much of the opposite, you know?
That's
so
good.
We could go on for days, y'all. So we gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna drop the mic right there.
So that's the gist of it. Like, that's a lot of what we experience. I'm like, Maya, so we could literally go on. That's literally that's not even scratching.
That's not, listen, the surface is still well intact.
So let's talk about, I know people are probably listening and they're probably laughing because we're laughing and thinking, wow, they literally talking about their pain and laughing through it. Let's talk to the people about how we have healed and continue to heal, because one thing I understand and have grown to understand about healing is that it's a true process. And I don't think I'll ever just say, oh yeah, I'm over that. I think this will be something I will continue to heal from, especially when I date seriously and when I get married and Lord Jesus, when I have kids. I mean, that's a whole nother healing. So what ways have you started healing from this? Oh, before we answer that, this happened when we were 16 and 14. 17 and 14? Something like that. Yeah. Okay, and now we are 22 and 25. So it's been almost 10 years.
Whew. That's crazy.
So in these almost 10 years, how have you healed? What steps have you taken to, uncover what your childhood trauma is and then heal that?
Okay. Well, for one, I completely agree with what you said. Healing is definitely a process.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think that healing was like a one-stop shop, like, oh, I made it, I'm
Right.
done.
Ain't got no
Until
more.
another trigger or something crept up, and I was like, wait, we
Yes.
still dealing with this?
Right.
So healing is something that you do over and over and over. It's a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, lifely commitment.
I like
Not
that.
yeah. So yeah, healing is definitely a process that you never get rid of. But to answer your question, I feel like I never dealt with my healing properly to begin with. I ran. So like you said, we would work, like we would just use whatever we could to distract ourselves without even realizing it. So even with me going off to school 5 hours away, that was me running. I'm thinking, oh, if I can cross that state line and get away from everybody.
And I was 12.
Right. Like, oh, I ain't gonna hurt no more. I ain't gonna see them. Like, so initially a lot of it was running. I just wanted to get away. And then I would get to these places and then be like,
still show up.
Right. I'm like, whoa, I left you 300 or something miles away. What you doing? What you doing here? So once I kind of realized, like, okay, you're not healed. You still cry when you talk about your mom. You still have this anger in your heart. Like, so just being real with myself, really self-assessing, like, can you honestly say that you are healed from this situation? And I started going to counseling. They had a couple free sessions on our campus. And so I utilized those. And that definitely helped kind of pull some layers back and unpack things. Doing that, getting into the word, just really learning how to forgive, reading a lot of books. So like right now I'm reading this book called The Recovery of Your Inner Child. It talks about how you can't really be a healthy, fully functioning adult until you heal that wounded child inside of you, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, like just doing lots of reading. I love to write. Like writing is my
she's a great
therapy. Writer. So shoot, I got notebooks, notes apps for days. So a lot of it has kind of been self-help because counseling can be expensive.
And we not poor because we don't speak that. We
Right.
were poor.
And I don't understand why everybody need counseling, but it's treated like a luxury item. But we're not going to talk about that. That's
Right.
that's
That's
another
another
story.
story.
That's another story. So a lot of it has been self-help and just really like being like getting in tune with me. Like, why are you hurting? Where's this hurt coming from? Really just digging it out and like facing those uncomfortable situations and questions. So, whew.
I'm proud of you because it's not easy. And I can say that from, experience. Same with my sister. We were fortunate enough to go to counseling for a short time before I went to college. And we'll talk about that. That's when we first realized about childhood trauma. But same thing as Maya. I did a lot of self-help, a lot of books, a lot of crying, and a lot of talking. Luckily, I found comfort in my godmom, who kind of went through similar childhood trauma. But even outside of her, I realized, like, I have to do this hard work. Like, why am I emotional? Why can't I communicate my feelings? Why am I getting upset at the dumbest things? And once I started unpacking that, I'm like, okay, nothing is wrong with you. This is just something you haven't dealt with from your childhood. And this is something that's ingrained in you because of your parents and because of how you grew up. So same as Maya, I have started healing. I started healing through self-help, reading, went to counseling, and it has definitely helped me. And of course, Jesus. But I want to be clear, like, I believe you can have Jesus and therapy. We're not the type to just be like, oh, no, pray about it. No, sis.
Because I'm still crying.
Okay, pray and then go to counseling because, no, that's not what we're doing. We need both.
Yes.
So let's talk about when we first realized we were suffering from childhood trauma. I know my first... When thinking about when did I realize this was a major problem, I think about our very first counseling session together with, I think her name was Miss Paulette.
Yes.
That was her name.
Yes.
Don't you remind you of Michelle Obama?
She reminds me of Michelle Obama. She was the cutest lady.
She was.
I hate we cried all over her couch.
Miss Paulette, if you out there, girl, I can buy you a new couch now. I can afford it. Y'all, we cried over that lady couch.
Yes.
Anyways, talk to us about how that experience was and really like confronting, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm dealing with some traumatic experiences.
I think accepting that, for one, was the most important part, because we can get in our own head and be like, why am I like this? Oh my gosh, I'm crazy. I'm breaking down and crying at school. And I don't know if you remember this, but it was one time we were at school and I was in the bathroom like just panic crying.
Was it high?
It was high school because you were a senior and I had just started freshman year.
I came to check on you.
You came to the bathroom because I don't know how I got in touch with you. Did we have phones? I don't remember.
Y'all, we was before we probably didn't have a phone.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Anyways,
maybe
I was
my sister telepathy went on.
Right. I don't know. Let me not get off topic. But basically in that session, just the amount of tears, like we could barely get through the session without crying. And that's just like, wow, like we're hurting. We're hurting bad. Like I think she maybe got 2 or 3 questions out and we was sniffling through them. And I'm pretty sure she was looking at us like, these kids need some help. They need some milk. But no, really, like I think just sitting there realizing like I can't do anything but cry right now.
That's all. Yeah.
And that really just that spoke volumes. Like that was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm hurting. I'm hurting.
Same. I know before that session, a little back up, we started going to that session because all we had been doing was crying. Yeah. And I think Miss Wendy, that's my godmom, she was like, yo, these girls need some help, because at that point we weren't even living in the same house, and that's a whole nother story. Yeah. I was a senior in high school. My sister was just starting high school. And so just imagine, like, even just the pressures of being a teenager, a regular teenager, and then you add in a very traumatic experience. Oh, we didn't even tell them the story about how it became traumatic.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, after this question, we'll talk about that. Because the next question kind of hit on. Okay, so to answer, when did I realize I was suffering from childhood trauma? It was definitely that first counseling session. I knew I was upset about things, but I didn't realize that this situation happened because of things that had happened literally all our life. And so that first session was super, super great, and it really encouraged me and almost gave me the power to continue to get therapy when I went off to school. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want to be like my mom. You know, I see the damage is done. I want to be better. So if you're out there and you're like, ooh, that's me, I think the first step would be talking to somebody. Yeah. Finding a therapist, even if, well, no, not even if. Don't talk to your friend. I mean, talk to your friend.
Bump your friends. Do not talk to
But go get a professional. Get a professional, because they can really just unpack and dive into things. Like literally some of the things that Miss Paulette said way back then, I still think about. And just the comfort she showed really literally gave me the power to continue on my healing journey. So that is when we first came.
It really hit us.
It hit us like a train. Yeah. So
I want to add one thing, if you don't mind. If you can't afford counseling, I will say writing. Or even if you're not much of a writer, do some voice memos. Yeah. Write a letter to the person that hurt you, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Like, in the meantime, I know it's like, well, okay, you mentioned counseling, but counseling can be, expensive, or, this, that, and another. It's so easy to make different excuses, but we have resources, guys. So if you need to get on your voice memo and cuss out your mama and never send it or something, like if that's gonna hold you over in the meantime, like just get it off of you in any way that you know how or that you can. So I just wanted to add that in, because
that's good.
Yeah,
I like that voice memo idea. You never told me that one. You've been holding out.
That's bad of me. That's selfish. You can't be holding out on the gems now.
On the healing gems. So the next question, or the next topic, the point I have is, how have those childhood experiences shaped you as a young adult? And I think this is a good time to talk about what those experiences even were. Yeah. Woo! We'll make it short. So in a nutshell, you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
I'll let you go. Okay. I'll hop off of whatever you say. I'll bounce off of you.
So in a nutshell, before we talk about how our childhood trauma shaped us as a young adult, we're going to talk about what that trauma was. So, where do we even start? We already told you a little bit about the childhood. I will say, we were very fortunate that our mom always had family support, especially in our younger days. We went to a private school. I don't know if it was subsidized, but it's fine. I mean, we got a great education. We went. Hey, I was there in my pleated skirt and my plaid. I went to private school for a few years. My sister never went to public school. You went from private straight to Clay, right?
Yeah.
Fortunate. Here go me, the ghetto child.
I I commend all the older siblings out there. Like, I have a special place for y'all in my heart because y'all the test dummies. Y'all the lab rats. So y'all really had to probably go through some stuff. So I appreciate y'all out there.
We sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did. So with that, I went to public school for I think 5 years, and then I was able to go to county school. And that it's just here, public school is like city school, and then you can go to county school, whatever, which is more of like in the suburbs, whatever the case. But anyways, in our formative years, we were very fortunate to be able to go to private school. I always say that our mom made sure we were educated and smart. Mm-hmm. Like, we couldn't even go outside and play until we read our book and did our homework, which is super, super great. But even outside of that, we didn't have money. Yeah. And I don't want to say money rules the world, but you need money to do things in this world. So we didn't have money. And then as you are going to middle school and high school, you realize other kids who do have money because they dress different from you. We weren't allowed to have company because it was nowhere for the company to sit. I mean,
I was too embarrassed to have company.
Yeah, that too.
I don't want y'all over here. I don't even want to be here.
I don't even want to be here. We shared a room until...
Oh my gosh. Until you went to college, right?
No, we had our own room 1 year. Remember
the house? We were in high school.
Yeah.
Okay,
that was
year. Yeah.
That was a decent time. But then the economy tanked. And we had to move.
And we ended up
back
leaving.
In the same room.
No, we ended up... Because I left, remember... in high school.
Oh, yeah.
To go.
See, I be forgetting stuff. Whatever the case, I was trying to bring y'all from the childhood to what really, really happened. So, as you can imagine, like, as a child, all of these things playing a part. Literally, almost every day of our being, we were reminded we didn't have money. Our mom didn't have money for this. She didn't have money for that. We never took family vacations. No. Never. Unless it was a family reunion. And those stopped when our great aunt passed. We were just talking about this last night. So... airplane, what? I consider people who flew on the airplane rich.
Richy rich.
We didn't even have AC in the car for some time. Yeah. Did we ever have AC in the car?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Literally, y'all, when I cranked my car up and I turned the air on, I'd be like, thank you, Jesus, for AC. And it may be funny, but I literally text Maya and be like, I just put the AC on. This was something we couldn't do.
Right.
Even I was in Target a few weeks ago and I bought a $12 planner and I literally text my sister like, it's so crazy that now I can afford a $12 planner because my mom was not buying us a $12 planner.
She was absolutely not.
She was getting it from work. I don't want to put mama out there. They may try to find her, but she was getting the school supplies from work.
I wish y'all could see my face.
I mean, she was. She had to do that. She had to do what she had to do. Okay. But all of that to say, it was rough growing up. It was very rough. And we were very, our eyes were open to the struggle because we've always been smart. Now, the situation that happened that really tipped the ice into the ocean or the boat over, very quickly, I believe at the time my mom's boyfriend and I had words. I think I was respectful. I was never disrespectful. I probably just had a teenage attitude.
I might have been the disrespectful one.
Yeah, you probably were.
I had the smart mouth.
Whatever the case, I just remember him saying he was going to call my mom because I had washed clothes or something. And I was like, okay. That's right. I think the issue, though, was that she told me not to wash more than once a week. But I was like, sis, I need these pants for school because we could wear anything to school. And I think I needed these pants. Or I needed a uniform or something because I was also on the flag team, whatever the case. I remember washing clothes and then he had saying something. And I was like, I don't care, whatever. Teenage attitude. Next thing I know, he come downstairs with his tools to take the door off the hinges.
Excuse you?
He was like, yeah, mama told me to take the door off the hinges. I'm like, okay, you want me to help you? Because
at this point,
because y'all get on my nerves.
Right.
Whatever the case, all I remember is she comes home and she's irate and yelling, which was something that was very common, which is why
yes.
Talk about triggers. People yelling at me is a trigger. Don't yell at me. I don't care. We arguing about you stole $200. Don't yell at me or I won't yell at you. Whatever the case. All I remember is she was like, you need to go. And I'm like, Go where? I don't even know. Go where? And then from there, literally, y'all, I don't even want to get into all of the nitty gritty of the details, but I ended up going to my godmom's house and we were thinking, and I didn't have a car, so I think I told her to come get me. So we were thinking that my mom was going to come back and get me that night or the next day. Y'all, that turned into 10 years. So it has been 10 years, about 10 years since that situation. And my mom never came back to get me.
Yeah.
She never reached out. She didn't come to my high school graduation. So this was my senior year of high school. She didn't come to my graduation. She didn't send me a piece of paper or a pencil for college. Not even an underwear, a sock.
Not an underwear.
Not a noodle. Nothing.
Yeah.
And as the months went on, I was like, wow.
Like, this is real.
This is real. Like, my mom never came. She still hasn't come back to get me. And luckily, my godparents were so amazing, are so amazing. They made room for me in their house. And that is when really the ish hit the fan, because I literally hit the bottom of the barrel. Like, I stopped doing my schoolwork. I was crying all the time in school. I mean, I was dealing with a lot, because at this time, I wasn't even talking to her anymore. And this was my senior year. Like, that's crazy.
And I feel like you and mom were a lot closer than me and her were, because I was just naturally a daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. So I know my story is a little different. I left a little before you did. Mm-hmm. But
and you were younger than me.
Yeah, I was younger than you. And I feel like it was easier for me to leave. Like, I didn't want to leave y'all, but it was easier for me to do so. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like you and her, although we weren't really close with her, you and her were naturally a little bit more closer. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it hit you a little harder. Yeah. To be like, wow, you're all I have. Right. So I had my dad, which helped, but like you had nothing after that. Like,
yeah, crazy. So speeding through the story, I go to college. Oh no, this is a good detail. I guess she was so mad, y'all. She called and had, she got her money back for my cap and gown. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, I do remember that.
And
Petty Betty.
Just, what parent
Can I at least just get across the stage, man?
She called and got her money back for the cap and gown. She got her, she took her information off my FAFSA for my college application. Y'all, it had gotten so bad. I said, I'm not going to college. Do you remember that part?
I do remember that.
I told my godmom that I was going to stay in Birmingham and take care of my siblings, because we have a younger brother. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take care of them and I'm going to work.
Miss Wendy said, no ma'am, no ham, no turkey, no beef.
No bacon.
No plant-based Impossible Burger.
Y'all, Miss Wendy and Mr. Ken, which is her husband, they looked at me and was like,
you crazy?
Okay, I would cuss, but y'all know I don't be cussing. Long story short, they made sure I got to somebody's college because they knew how smart I was. God. And I ended up, of course, getting an academic full scholarship, whatever the case. But I said all that to say those experiences, they shaped me in a lot of ways. But before I talk about how they shaped me, you want us to talk about your experiences with that trauma?
Yeah, I think the trauma, it caused a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And I feel like I developed a lot of anxiety. Yeah. Like, I feel like I've become this, like, super anxious person. Whereas I used to be this very, like, free-spirited. And
she used to be cutting up clothes and making stuff.
And it's like the trauma just made me so anxious. Like, I just felt like something's always going to happen to me. I'm always going to walk into the house door and get yelled at. Yeah. This could be the day she hit me or something. Or this could be the day I get cussed out for not blinking the right way. And I don't know. Like, I developed a lot of anxiety. And like you said, during this time, we were like in high school. I was just starting my high school journey, a freshman in high school. And I'm just like, I don't even know who I am, like, as a girl, as a woman. And then you take away my mom out of the picture. Like, I feel like I dealt with a lot of, like, struggles in womanhood because I thought I was crazy. And I was like, I don't have a woman to reference this with. Like, of course I had you.
But I'm still figuring it out myself.
Right. So it's like, and I don't want to place this expectation that, like, since I don't have my mom, Jay's going to be like, I know we joke, like, I'm your first child, but I'm not your responsibility, you know? So yeah, like, just not having that woman to say, hey, this is this or this is, like, I would have to get on Google and be like, hey, is this normal for a girl to be? Like, you know, like, just little things like that. And I don't know, I feel like me and her were pretty similar in terms of, like, creativity and interests and stuff. Yeah. So for a while, I didn't even want to do anything that reminded me of her, but those things were like my passions. Yep. So I was kind of in this deep, like dark, depressed hole. I was really negative. I didn't feel like there was a purpose for me. Like I just felt like, why am I here? Y'all should have strapped it up.
You know what?
What is that the term?
Yeah.
Wrapped it up, strapped, whatever. Y'all should have did that. Like I just felt like why am I here? My parents don't love me. My parents don't care about me. And I just found myself, like I said, running a lot. And so she, like Jay mentioned, she was really strict about school and like our academics and just making sure we're reaching our full potential. So I just started to identify as a student and as an employee. So I stayed with at least 1 or 2 jobs.
Oh my God, yes.
I was like school. And it just made me into like this hyper anxious, perfectionist person that, no, I can't show myself any grade. Like I became my own drill sergeant. And I think I was doing these things, one, because it's like, okay, I don't know anything else. Like I can't play a sport. I can't rap. I can't, like school is almost going to be like my way out.
Right.
And I think I almost also did these things to, I don't want to say like impress her, but to like, is this enough? Like, am I finally enough?
Right. Am I enough now?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like at some point you got to realize, look, I'm human. I got to show myself some grace. And I can't keep trying to run myself in the dirt, trying to impress or please this woman. So yeah, I think it just really made me, like I said, to like hyper anxious, really hard on myself. For a minute, I didn't even know like who I was or like what I wanted. Like I didn't want to be anything like her. And I know, like I mentioned, like we get a lot of our creativity from her, our writing abilities. Yeah, shoot, I even write like this lady.
Yeah, she could literally be a multimillionaire.
She could. She absolutely could. Like I get a lot of who I am from her. And that scared me because I was like, I don't want to be anything like her.
Right.
So for a long time, I like walked around with this question mark because it's like, I don't want to be like you, but hell, I am like you. So I can't run. I just have to do it differently.
Yes, do it differently.
So that's kind of my take.
I love everything. I think the biggest thing that stood out was doing it differently.
Yeah.
I think everything we went through shaped me almost in the same way. I worked so hard not to be like her, not realizing, just like you, I am so much like her because she is our mom.
It's embedded in our DNA.
Oh, it be making me mad. I be like, no,
go away.
I don't want to be like you. But one thing that I have taken as I'm adulting and learning how to figure things out is just doing it differently. I don't want those experiences to be an excuse. And I can wholeheartedly, comfortably say we have not. We've defined so many odds that we don't give ourselves enough credit for. That's a whole nother childhood trauma thing. But just when we talk about how those things shaped us as a young adult, we realize we are like her, but we're doing it differently.
Right.
And we have learned that it's purpose in everything. I think that's one big realization that therapy helped me see. Like, I went through this for a reason.
Right.
Like, I do feel like, I mean, yeah, of course, who wants to go through stuff like that? I don't wish that on my worst enemy, but in hindsight, I can see I am this woman because of that.
Right.
I can guarantee you I give this situation to somebody else and they will fold. But, you know, we don't fold. And so just as I adult and grow and I think about marriage and a family, I just try to use those experiences as building blocks to just be the best person I can be.
Right.
That is all I can be out here. I know with all of that, we talked a little bit about healing earlier. We actually talked a little bit about this, like what our healing looked like. So let's dive a little bit into why is healing so important?
Whew. As my counselor says, hurt people hurt people. Healed people heal people.
Oh, yes.
Wait, what was the question again?
Why is healing so important?
Why is healing so important? I feel like healing is so important because it breaks those cycles or the potential for a cycle to be formed. Because like you said, you wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy, but until you heal, you're planting those seeds of your hurt in different people.
Yes.
And I hate that I've played the villain in so many other people's lives because I wasn't healed or I've self-sabotaged because I wasn't ready to receive a healthy form of love or whatever it was they were trying to give me. or just me as a person. Like, I run. So I run, and if I left somebody high and dry because I just wasn't ready to, you know, whatever the case may be, until I attack the reason why I'm like that, I'm just going to keep doing that to more people. So I think that's why healing is so important, because it's like, if you want to be this person of love and this person of, oh, I want people to think about me in this light, you can't be that if you still have that hurt.
Right.
And as much as you can try to say, oh no, like, yeah, I'm healing and yeah, I'm hurting, but I'm not doing anybody wrong. You know, you never know because when you're hurt, it's just like so many filters and biases and projections. Like, even like the slightest thing could make you defensive, and it's because you're not healed.
Exactly, because you get triggered by
it. Exactly. So it's like, until you really commit to that healing process, you're gonna forever be leaving those little droplings of hurt wherever you go.
Wherever you go.
So
I love that. Okay, philosophical. I would say healing is so important because it essentially sets you free from the bondage of whatever you may be dealing with. Like, some people's healing, you can do it in a matter of a year, and you be like, you know what? That was great. I am so much better. Some people, it may take 3 years. Some people, it takes a lifetime. Some people, it take a month. Whatever the case, when you decide to heal, you literally give yourself permission to be set free. And I think when I seriously took on healing, I realized that, just like my sister said, I was hurting other people. I think my biggest thing was I was projecting my hurt. Oh my God, I was so defensive.
Same. Somebody could be like, why your eyebrow like that? What you mean? My mama
left me when I was 15 years old. That's why my eyebrow like this.
It's like, sister girl, it's called feedback and constructive criticism.
Yeah, literally. I was like that. I did not want anyone to say anything to me because I was like, I'm doing this life. I don't need your input. Leave me alone. Like, you weren't there shooting with me in the gym or starving with me on the floor. Like, literally, you weren't. So because I have healed, I have learned, well, because I am healing, I have learned that it's so important, because you really do become your best self. And although I would never say, not today, like, oh my gosh, I'm totally healed from that, I can say I am such a better person. Like, I'm more patient with myself. I'm more patient with other people. I'm more aware of my triggers. I think that's another thing healing does for you and why it's so important. It makes you aware. Like, literally, in relationships, do not yell at me.
Yeah.
Because that's a trigger for me. And counseling really helped me learn my triggers. Right. Because when you yell, before therapy and before I got to this point, when you yelled, I resorted back to, I heard my mom's voice, because all she did was yell. Yeah. She could be saying good morning.
Good morning. I hope I didn't kill y'all ears with that.
But that's how we felt.
Yeah.
Y'all, it was just so
a lot.
much
Just
yelling.
really stressful.
It was never, I don't remember a peaceful time.
I don't either. But she would be the main one
Some
peace and quiet. You're not leading by example.
Like, sis, you the loud
You
one.
are the, right.
You are the loud. We the peace. Whatever the case, all that to say, when I began healing, I learned that that's a trigger for me.
Yeah.
Even just how I conduct business over the phone. Healing helped me see. I witnessed my mom. If she was on the phone for like just 2 minutes waiting on the representatives to come, she was cussing them out when they came. Yep. I don't know if you remember that.
I absolutely remember. Okay. She gave help a hard time. Like, after working in retail and experiencing like being on the other side of that, I'm like, I don't want to be like her at all.
Exactly. Literally, that's a trigger for me. When I see people acting irate in public, I be want to slap them upside their head, because it just does something inside of me. Because as a kid, when you see people yelling and carrying on like that, you think something is wrong. And then you realize, oh, you just been waiting on the phone. Nothing's wrong. Right. You're not in danger. And so now, because I've healed and gone through that, I'm like, you know what? If I'm waiting on the phone for 5-10 minutes, they're busy. I can either call back or I can wait. And so I don't know how I got on that point. But whatever the case, healing is important because I would say it reveals your true self to you. That's another part.
I absolutely agree.
It reveals your true self. You learn the ugly parts, the pretty parts, the glamorous parts, the insecure parts, but it's also worth it, so that when you do have relationships, even just platonic relationships, you can communicate with your friends. Hey, These are my blind areas. Hold me accountable here. Or even in romantic relationships. Look, boo, this is my insecurity. Look, I done healed, but you're going to have to be patient with me. Even just knowing your love language and your forgiveness language. So, woo, if
it
y'all
makes you
out there,
so self-aware.
It makes you so self-aware. And not that you become this know-it-all perfect person, but you become self-aware and you're able to protect yourself and other people. You become aware of your energy and other people's energy. Like, literally, if I get a phone call from my mom sometimes, I'm like, not today.
I have a choice.
Yeah, I have a choice. Because I'm so self-aware and I know that I'm not in a place today where I can talk to you. In
a healthy way.
Exactly. And for a little bit of context, people always ask, well, do you have a relationship with your mom now? Especially after hearing all of what we've gone through. We communicate.
Yeah, I'll say we communicate, but as far as a relationship, I feel like there is potential for one to be there, but it just hasn't quite gotten there. Yeah. And for me, I'm a little bit more cutthroat than Jaye.
Oh, y'all.
So for me...
And people think I'm cutthroat.
Yeah, it's crazy. But for me, it's like, I've gone so long without you to the point where it's like I'm more than willing to have a relationship, but it's like I've come so far without you. I don't really need you or even really want you. Like, not to say that in a mean way. Yeah. It's like it would just be an accessory. It would be a nice added addition, but it's not like how in the past I'd be like, oh my gosh, I want that typical mother-daughter relationship, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've found that wholeness in myself. Yeah. I found it in God because he's way better than our earthly parents. Yeah. He's not going to disappoint us. So I found what I was looking for in her already. So now it's just like, yeah, you can come over, but I mean, I'm not going to beg and plead and be super dependent on you showing up.
Or be sad if you don't.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So,
ooh, that's good. I would say the same. Every time people ask me that question, I'm like, we communicate.
We talk sometimes.
Right, because I wouldn't say it's a relationship. I literally, like my sister said, I would say there's potential. Yeah. Am I bitter? No. Am I still healing? Yes. Yeah. It's a process. I don't know if you're out there listening and you had your mom. I mean, just imagine not. And all the things. Imagine all the things your mom helped you figure out in life and then her not being there and you trying to figure that out on your own as a child. Because literally up until, I would say I was still a child up until like 21 when I like officially had to do things on my own and moved out. Because even in college, not that I was like childish, but like you're still depending on other people. Yeah, there's not a relationship, but I am open to one, and I think there's great potential. But literally, everything Maya said, I agree with. I mean, it's been so long. You know, I keep saying literally. I am my own woman. I pay my own bills. You know, I make my own decisions.
She said, I don't need a man.
No, I don't need a man. If you out there, boo, and the Lord sends you.
You have to pass my vetting process,
y'all,
sir.
my sister has that's another topic. She has a thorough vetting process, whatever the case. I have always said, while my mom and I don't have a relationship, I've made up in my mind that when and if I am blessed to have kids and bring a family into this world, I won't rob my kids of that relationship. Yeah. And I haven't decided about the wedding yet, if she can come. But
I haven't thought that far. Look, I just gotta take it day by day sometimes. Like, I gotta find somebody to have a wedding with first, and then we can cross that bridge.
But I'm just saying, because you know they're gonna be asking and be like, where you at? I mean, where your mama?
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't know who made me think of. Well, they didn't make me. I think I was watching TV.
Yeah,
I was doing something in this world, and the conversation came up, and I said, "Ooh, I don't know."
Yeah, or like even if you say you didn't want her at the wedding, but you had kids, like, would you want her in the hospital with like that? Wow,
yeah, that's a lot. Even so, that's another.
We'll get there.
When you talk about unpacking childhood trauma, you got to go as far as, okay, how does this trauma then affect the family I bring into this world? Because I don't want to have kids, and they're like,
do we have a grandma?
Right, and I'm like, you got one, her name is Wendy. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Your dad's grandma is your only grandma.
That will be their grandma as well. But yeah, I've only decided, yes, she can have a relationship with the kids. Now, being in the room, I don't know about all that right now. I don't think so. Sis, you didn't even come to graduation.
And I
I done graduated college twice.
Oh, wow.
You had 2 chances.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, I sound hurt.
Yeah, let that hurt go, sis. Get that hate out your heart.
I'm healing. Before we wrap up, this has been great.
This has been fun.
Wow. One of the last questions. What have you learned about yourself through this entire healing process and what you've gone through?
Oh, goodness.
Give us your top 2.
Okay. I've learned that I am enough.
Yeah.
And that I don't have to attach my value to whether I accomplish something or whether someone's in my life or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized I was, without knowing it, so I'm the type of person, I like want affection, but I'm like what's a good example? I'm like an egg. So like I can be hard on the outside, but on the inside,
just mushy as a baby.
Right, just mushy and wants affection and wants love and wants all those things. But based off my exterior, you would never know that. And so I realized I could be really codependent on people. And I would try to use different people or things and like the world or whatever the case may be to kind of feel like those missing pieces. And so I think I'm just at a place now where I'm like, hey, you're enough. You're enough whether you ever talk to your mom again. You're enough whether she calls you or not. Just taking the things I used to identify with off of me.
Yeah.
Like, we're not the struggle.
At all. I'm rich.
We're a product of it, but we're not the struggle. We're not scarcity mindset. We're not money don't grow on trees. Like, that's not me.
Right.
I'm Keimaya.
Yeah.
And so just
No
really... Oh, wow. Not my government. Wow. Please edit that out. Someone, anyone. I'm kidding. But just realizing that, like, I'm me. And, like, just taking off all of these identities of, like, oh, but I have to be this type of way for my dad or this type of way for my mom. And like, who do you want to be?
Right.
You know, so just finding that, like, I'm enough, man.
Yeah.
I'm enough whether my breath stink.
You know what?
I'm enough whether my mask hanging off a little weird. Like, look,
I'm
I'm enough regardless. So, yeah. And just realizing that the things I want in my life and the things I want to receive don't have to be based on like something else. So like, oh, maybe when I do this, you know, they'll love me more. Or maybe when no. If they don't love you right now today, then go on somewhere.
Go on somewhere.
Peace and hair grease.
You know what? I like that. I'm enough. When I wrote this question out, I said, wow, I know I've learned things about myself, but I was trying to identify like what would be my top 2 or my top 1. The main thing I would say I've learned about myself throughout this entire process is that I am powerful beyond what I realized.
Yes.
I think that even just, I laugh thinking about when it was time for like the Easter plays way back when we were little. I was always the kid like trying to lead. Well, not trying, I was.
You were definitely, there was no trying about it.
Leading and like, oh, Miss Johnson, pick me. I would say everybody's speech. And I'll never forget I got in trouble because I was up teaching my kindergarten class, 5 plus 5. Like, why was I doing that? But because y'all, education was important, so I knew 5 plus 5.
And y'all gonna know what it is too.
Exactly. The teacher was doing something. I was like, baby, I got it, sis. Sit back. 5 plus 5 is 10. Anyways, all of that to say, the entire experience and the journey that I've been on has showed me that even then I was powerful and I didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
But it's translated into me being powerful now, being able to help heal other people and being able to, little things like just praying for other people.
Yeah.
Like that's something I consider a powerful thing because I don't want everybody praying over me. So when people come to me and I'm like, me?
That's sacred.
Yeah, I'll go to Jesus on your behalf, Father God. Even just the things I've accomplished, like, we looked at college as like that's what we're supposed to do. Like that was not a choice, you know. Like going to college again, I'm like, wow, everyone doesn't do that. You know, I am more powerful than I realize. And so I have learned that because I'm that powerful, I can do anything I put my mind to.
Absolutely.
I don't care if you tell me I cannot walk to Mars. I bet you my last $3 I will find a way. I don't know how. But because I've learned, like, Jay, you have carried, you know, literally, not the whole family, but I've carried the weight of the world at such a young age. I can literally move mountains. And I take that as something that's a good thing because of just where we come from.
Right.
Wow.
I agree. That's really powerful. Like, I look back and I'm like, if I tried to tell somebody the things we've been through, they would think I was over-exaggerating.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no.
No, this is
like,
real.
This really happened.
I know how to survive. You know how to warm my water on the stove and take a bath? Yes.
Absolutely. But I'm not going to have to do that anymore because I have hot water over there. But if I need to.
If I need to boil some water on the stove to take my bath.
I can.
I know how to steal cable. Don't ask me how.
Oh my gosh, wait, I never learned that. See, you were a little older. You got all the little tips and tricks. I didn't get all of that.
I'm not going to come steal your cable. So, last question before we get to people homework and wrap it on up.
All right.
What would you tell someone who's experienced childhood trauma, who may not be at a place where we can literally sit here as sisters who share DNA and literally laugh, somewhat feel like you want to cry sometimes, but laugh about what we've gone through and talk about the healing? For someone who hasn't started that journey and is probably like in the middle of it, what would you say to them?
That's a great question. I think I would just tell them to take it day by day. Because honestly, that's what I did. Like, there are some days I'm like, I don't want to be here. But if I can just get through today and then tomorrow and then and just keep going. And I would say keep some kind of why in front of you. So I know we turned our pain into like motivation a lot of the times. And we used our, I don't want to be like her, you know, as like a fuel. So find something that can like drive you and push you and like kind of lessen the blow a little bit. So yeah, right now I'm in this situation and it sucks. But look, I got purpose and a vision and this is what I'm working towards. And I know that God is moving me through this for a reason. You know, I never in a million years thought we would be here doing this podcast talking about this topic.
Crazy.
So it's crazy how it all comes full circle. Just find something, anything to hold on to, and just to.
I like that. I would say to anyone who's just starting out on their healing, or you've experienced childhood trauma, you don't even know if you want to start the journey. That was good, Mama. That's my name for her. Y'all don't call her that. Sorry.
You're embarrassing me.
Sorry. One thing that I would tell you, take it day by day. I would say find your why.
You a copycat.
Finding your why is not take it day by day.
I also said to find something to hold on to.
I know, but I said find your why.
You know how folks be like, yeah, you can see my homework, just worded a little different. That's basically what just happened.
Okay, well.
It's fine. That could be yours.
You know what?
That ain't no problem.
Thanks. Do y'all see this? Well, that's my answer. So, to piggyback off of my lovely sister, I would say, yes, find something to hold on to. Find your why, and find a why that withstands pain and time.
That's good.
Because pain will be there and time will pass, you know. But your why has to be so deep that it can withstand that.
Absolutely.
So I would say find your why and then do what Maya says. Take it day by day because it won't be easy.
It will not. But eventually you're going to look back and be like, if I can do that.
Yeah, I can do anything. That's crazy. We sit here talking about it on this here podcast. So before we say adios, I want to thank you for joining me. This is so
Thanks for having me.
Wow.
This was so fun.
I'm happy you enjoyed it. I have a ton of guests, but to have my sister, my baby sister.
I feel honored.
I used to comb your hair.
Okay.
Now you can let it go. Anyways.
I feel really honored that you decided to have me. Like, wow.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, nonetheless. You know I give homework before we end. What do you want the people to do for homework?
I want you guys... Listen, okay. Like I said, Jay's nice. I have a deadline. Okay. For homework, let's see. Identify something that triggers you. Identify a trigger and then identify the root of that trigger if you can. So, for instance, a trigger of mine, bills trigger me. No. You see how people be laughing at your pain? I'm kidding. But no, bills really do trigger me because anytime I've seen a bill come about, our mom was stressed about it, crying about it, whatever the case may be. So I could have the resources to cover the bill, but it's still like a gulp, like, so that's my trigger, and I know why, because of how, bills, the association we had with bills growing up. So yeah, identify a trigger and then identify the root. And then another piece to the homework, I want you guys to...
Okay, 2-part homework.
Yes, of course. We're going to do some things with a purpose. I want you guys to find ways you can... Let me see. What's a good word? Let me see. Find ways you can work towards that trigger. So for me, I kind of have to do affirmations. There's nothing wrong. This bill isn't hurting you. This bill isn't here to attack you. It's a bill. You use that Wi-Fi this month. You know you did. So it's time to pay for it. And just, So that's what I want you guys to do. Hopefully I was clear. Identify your trigger, identify the root, and then identify some things that you can implement that will help soothe or remedy that trigger. Yeah.
I love it. And I will add that to the show notes. I'm not going to add more homework because you done gave them 18 parts for the homework. You know how the homework help. One question, but it'd be 3 parts.
A, B, C, D, E, E1, E2.
You're like, teacher, come on. Wow. All right, y'all. This was super, super great. That wraps up another great episode of the School of Life podcast. Today's episode was definitely refreshing.
Yes.
It's always a form of therapy when we can talk about our pain and how it shaped us, and especially in the context that it may help other people. I think that's the beauty in it. Like, the pain was so powerful that it can help heal someone else. Ooh.
It wasn't all for no reason.
It was not all for no reason. I'm sorry, Jesus. It was not all for no reason. As always, I hope you guys learned something new, gained some new insight, decide you're going to confront your childhood trauma. Whatever it is, this podcast exists to add value to your life because we are all in this together. Do you have any final words for the people?
Thank you guys for having me. Yay. It was nice to meet you all. Embrace the uncertainty.
Yes.
And just let it be.
Let it be.
Take it day by day.
Y'all. Day by day. Keep fighting. Keep pushing. Keep evolving. Talk to you soon.
That's adults with the score doing the most. That's adulting, moving out of mom's house. That's adulting, but it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle.